Hello, and welcome to Forward, Mississippi State University's television show exclusively for the College of Education. My name is Camille Carskadden, the Communications Specialist for the college, and today we are interviewing two kinesiology PhD students. The second is going to be Daneo Sosa, but first we have Brantley Ballinger. Welcome. So first, let's begin by just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I did my undergrad degree at the University of Montevallo, and then I did my master's at UAB. And while I was at UAB, I got to work with the Horizon School in Birmingham. That's kind of where I first had that passion for working with people with disabilities. We did exercise programming for them. And so then when I started looking for a PhD program, one of the first things I saw with Dr. Stamatis was his research with Down syndrome, so here I am.
That's fantastic. So what is your research specialization?
So at UAB, I did some work with cardiovascular health. So here, focusing more on Down syndrome, but hopefully we're going to be able to start a project soon where I can look at cardiovascular health in people with Down syndrome.
Wonderful. And so why did you pick this area of research out of all of the other areas?
So this area of research, cardiovascular disease is very prevalent in our society, and especially with people with Down syndrome. And working with people with disabilities when I was at UAB kind of sparked that passion for me.
Good. And what have you found in your research about how the quality of life changes with exercise within this population?
Yeah, well, exercise, whether it be just increasing physical activity through the day or just exercise programs, as a whole, just increases that quality of life tremendously, in all people, but also people with disabilities.
Good. And what is important to remember when implementing exercise programs for this population?
Definitely start slow. With anybody, but starting slow. But also the main thing that I learned when I was doing programming at UAB was making sure that people are enjoying the activities. For example, doing things like dance might be more enjoyable for someone who enjoys that as opposed to just strength training or another form of exercise.
Okay, and why this population?
Well, I just kind of had that passion from when I was working with the Horizon School at UAB, and so when I had the opportunity to come here and work with people with disabilities, I definitely wanted to take that opportunity.
Good. And so when implementing programs like this, can anyone off the street or anyone from a gym implement these programs, or is it really sort of a person that specializes in these specific trainings?
Yeah, I would say you would probably have to have that specialization, working with people with disabilities. There's some great organizations that do have good certifications for that, and so yeah, definitely somebody that's been trained in that area.
Good. And talk to me about your past research.
So past research looking at specifically arterial stiffness in women, and so that's why one of the projects we want to start here is looking at arterial stiffness, bringing one of my interests and looking at that in people with Down syndrome to kind of tie in the interest with my advisor.
Okay, and what is arterial stiffness?
So arterial stiffness, as we age, our arteries stiffen, and so that's something that we can't stop from happening, but we can prevent that from increasing at a high rate. So.
Okay. And you mentioned before a research project that you are hoping to do. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we want to look and tie in arterial stiffness with levels of physical activity and levels of fitness in people with Down syndrome to see the relationship there and see ways we can help to reduce the prevalence of arterial stiffness in people with Down syndrome and helping their overall quality of life.
Okay, wonderful. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Just that as a lab as a whole, our main goal is to reduce health disparities that are prevalent in people with disabilities and just overall improve the research in people with disabilities as a whole and specifically people with Down syndrome.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
When we come back, we will be talking to kinesiology PhD student Danilo Sosa.
A baby's arrival can be one of the most exciting times in a family's life. It can also be one of the most anxious, especially if the child's development is hindered by medical challenges that create more questions than answers. At Mississippi State University, we're groundbreakers in the study of CHARGE syndrome, a genetic condition that leads to a host of life-threatening birth defects. Our research teams are uncovering breakthroughs in treatment and prevention with a goal of greater understanding that leads to better care. We're also providing crucial support resources for parents and helping physicians around the globe gain awareness so symptoms can be detected and addressed earlier. By engaging in this innovative analysis and therapy, we're not only improving outcomes, we're unlocking brighter futures. Everyone remembers their favorite teddy bear, the reassuring love of their first puppy. They comforted us and made us laugh. For children battling abusive situations or post-traumatic stress disorder, the memories aren't as pleasant. That's why at Mississippi State University, we're pioneering a robotic technology that brings healing to those exposed to traumatic situations. Known as Therabot, MSU's robotic beagle includes lifelike features that allow it to move in ways that are both natural and nurturing. Its ultimate goal? To bridge the gap between two types of effective therapy, using real animals and their plush counterparts for emotional assistance. At MSU, we're proud to be changing the game in therapeutic recovery, even prouder to be putting lives back together again.
Welcome back. Our second guest for Forward today is kinesiology PhD student Danilo Sosa. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for coming on the show today. Let's just begin by telling me about yourself.
Okay, my name is Danilo, as you have said. I'm from Botswana in Africa, just above South Africa, if you don't know the map. And I did my bachelor's in South Africa in finance. And then my master's, I traveled to Greece to do sports studies. I have experience working with persons with disabilities just as a volunteer. So that's why I switched to sports right now. And then I'm here in Mississippi State doing my PhD, first year student in Department of Kinesiology.
Fantastic. So how did you find Mississippi State?
I was actually looking for adapted physical activity programs for persons with disabilities because I worked with the Paralympics, I worked with Special Olympics. So now I wanted to improve our programs back at home. So I was on the adapted physical activity program website, and then I saw my supervisor's name there, what he was doing, and that he actually works at Mississippi State University, so that's how I learned about the program.
That's fantastic. So what is your area of research here?
Physical activity or physical exercise programs for persons with development disabilities, because when you look from the sports background that I come in, the Paralympics, they're highly competitive. That so for people who can run faster, do better with their impairment. And then there's a category of persons with disabilities that cannot able to qualify for those to be so fast. So they need their own programs, and that is the gap that I saw in the field, that we need program for people who really want to just to be active, but without being competitive. So that's why I want to now bridge that gap.
That's wonderful. So why is physical activity in this population so important?
Actually, it can help them because now they're more sedentary, they're just at home, and they can develop more secondary disabilities. Because when you are not physically active, you can have obesity, you can have easily have cardiovascular diseases, and you can even become more dependent on other people than when you are physically active, whereby you can actually help to reduce your dependence on other people. You can do basic daily living activities on your own.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So are persons with disabilities, are they more likely to live a sedentary lifestyle?
Yes, because there are no programs out there for them to do. So when there are programs, that's when they can actually move more better.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do these programs, if implemented, really improve their quality of life?
They can improve both their health and actually even their social life, because now you get to get out, you can interact with your family, you can find friends at the programs, and you can be able to do things for yourself. You can able to now help yourself to drink water, while in the past maybe somebody was helping you to do that. You can move yourself, you can reduce bed sores, because now you're able to move around, so your quality of life also improve holistically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is the creation of these programs different than maybe the creation of a program for people that do not have a disability?
Yes, this one is aligned to your level of ability. It's not about kick this ball to that place. It's about what are you able to do now, and you are developing that and adapting it to your level of disability, where you can give you more strength if your upper body is not okay. So it's really tailor-made to your needs and how that can roll out to your life at home, so that you are able to do some basic activities as well.
Okay, and what is probably one of the most important things to remember when implementing these sorts of activities?
You should really start slow. That's why it's really important. You don't want to overwhelm the person, so that is not so discouraging and so demotivated. So start small, start with what they're able to do now, and then build up from there.
Wonderful. So in your career as a student, have you been able to implement any of these trainings, or has COVID kind of put a damper on that?
Yes, and COVID actually put a damper on that. I was even supposed to start earlier, but because of COVID-19, I couldn't even start my program on time. So yeah.
That's disappointing, but hopefully you can get started soon.
Yes, I hope so.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Thank you for having me today.
For more information about the College of Education, visit educ.msstate.edu.